Last week, we went a little bit into the why of mindful photography, and today we're going to be talking about the how. But the why part for me is that I moved here to Colorado coming up on 6 years ago. And during the previous 4 or 5 years, I lived in Austin, and I was in the middle of a second marriage that did not work out and a very deeply dark part of my life. A couple of things happened that helped pull me out of that hellhole that I was in, felt so helpless. One was that I found a group of Christians who also meditated. So I started to get into a real meditation practice. But the other thing was what I now call mindful photography. And somehow, some way, despite being in some really hardcore depression, I would peel myself off the couch and get downtown Austin. And I would approach people in the streets and do what I call now street portraits. And I would notice that after I'd be with these folks and connect with them, hit them up for a portrait, be totally absorbed in those few minutes that I was with them, that I would just be catapulted into a whole different kind of level of perception, existence. There was something that was helping me transcend the problems that I was having that, of course, 100% were either based on worrying about the past or anxiety about the future. But when I'd practice photography like this, I would find myself deeply immersed in the present moment. And I'd be so touched by some of these folks that were the untouchables, let's say, and the people that are living on the streets and whatever, and just to be able to go and be with them and share consciousness with them and share beauty with them and let them recognize that they're special. It really did have this transformative effect on me, so much so that I started this idea that ended up being the underpinnings of the mindful photography field guide. I put it on the shelf, and years later, I took it back off the shelf. And that's a theme that I'm going to be bringing up with you too, is asking you, hey, what's on your shelf? What's your book? What is that thing that God has been tugging you about, your dream, your hope, your project? And I believe that men, especially, are called to greatness, and that when men lose hope in their lives and don't have a calling that they're actively pursuing, that things can get pretty dicey. And you know how sometimes depression and anxiety can attract depression and anxiety. And so the idea of having a passion like this and finding that true purpose in your life is so much a part of the Christian walk, the spiritual journey, but the mindfulness journey too.